Hello everyone, welcome to another Daily Splat. Today's Daily Splat, because this is the second to last day of 2010, I figured I might as well do a couple of reviewy things on 2010. And where better to start in terms of, I suppose, media reviews than cinema. Lots of films coming out this year, that sort of thing. I had a check through earlier. This is one of the only videos where I've done preparation before. It's where I looked at the list of films that were released this year that I actually went to see in the cinema. And the list I've got in front of me comes to 7 films. They're a pretty good bunch, mostly. I'm just going to run you through what I thought of them, basically, and what I consider to be the film of the year. Obviously, having only seen 7 films, it's hardly the most insightful list. I haven't seen stuff like Kick-Ass, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Megamind, just trying to think of films that I saw on the list, Machete, I haven't seen any of them. But I can basically just say what I know about films that came out this year. I think I actually saw Avatar and the Sherlock Holmes film with Robert Downey Jr. at the start of this year, but technically they're 2009 films, so I'm not really counting them. But what I will say on them is that Avatar was, it was alright. Not brilliant, but pretty good. And Sherlock Holmes film was very enjoyable. Good Victorian romp. Right, on to the films this year. The first film that I saw of the 2010 releases was Alice in Wonderland, which was good, but not great. It could have been better. I thought Tim Burton did a reasonably good job. It was probably the least Tim Burton-ish type film I've seen of his. There's not so many spirals or weird staircases and stuff like that. It was still very heavily influenced by him, but he did well not to change a lot of what is known from the designs of Lewis Carroll's original characters. It was good. Highlight of the film was probably Stephen Fry as the Cheshire Cat. He was absolutely brilliant, and also the animation of the cat was really good. I thought Alice herself, I can't say her name, Mia Wasilewski, whatever her name is, I thought she was very good. I believed her as Alice. I thought the Tweedledee and Tweedledum were alright, both played by Matt Lucas, did a good job. Helena Bonham Carter, she was pretty good as the Evil Queen, with her enlarged head and stuff. Crispin Glover as her sort of snidey sidekick was pretty good. It was a very good film in terms of, I thought all the actors did a good job, with the exception of Johnny Depp, who I felt he looked brilliant as the Mad Hatter, and I thought he did a good job with the main bits of the Mad Hatter, the sort of what's going on, Alice, all that business. I thought that was okay. It was when he got angry and started to go into that weird Scottish accent and just started speaking like fire. It didn't really work for me, and it sort of just threw me off him. But aside from that, he was pretty good as well. So overall, probably give it about a 7 out of 10. I would watch it again, but it would probably be for Stephen Fry. Okay, Green Zone. It was a film about the early days of the American invasion of Iraq. Starred Matt Damon and Jason Isaacs. Hello to Jason Isaacs. And I thought it was good. I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be nothing special, and in a lot of ways it was a little predictable, but I thought it was actually quite enjoyable, and certainly could have been done much worse. And I felt it felt a little bit more clever than those sort of war films that you normally get of that sort of variety. It felt quite genuine in some respects, and I just thought it was a reasonably decent film. So Green Zone, I would recommend it. I'd probably give it 7 out of 10 as well. Shrek Forever After, I went to see this in a cinema where, including me, there was 4 people. But I really enjoyed it. It's the only film I've seen so far, because you had to see it in 3D in this cinema with the glasses. It's the only film I've seen where the 3D actually made the film a better experience. Also, I think it's probably the best Shrek film they've made since the first one. I really hated the third one. Shrek the Third I thought was just rubbish. This one, it was more just I turned up at the cinema with a friend, and we were going, what should we go see? And we both decided, let's go see Shrek. And it was really enjoyable, and the 3D actually worked, because there's a scene, the massive swinging ball chandelier thing, and with the 3D glasses, it just looked better. It looked like you were more there, and whereas something like Toy Story 3, which we'll get onto in a bit, I saw that in 3D, and that just didn't need to be in 3D at all. I felt Shrek Forever After, some of the effects they had with the dragon and with the chandelier and stuff like that, it really worked. So I was quite impressed with that. And also, it was a bit like a Shrek version of It's a Wonderful Life, and it was quite good, I thought, and certainly just a better film. And I hope that they finish the Shrek series with that, because it was a good place to finish, I think, and certainly made up for Shrek the Third. Toy Story 3, Shrek Forever After, probably 7 out of 10 again. These were pretty good films I would watch again. Toy Story 3 was excellent, absolutely excellent, from start to finish, just absolutely brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I did see it in 3D, but didn't feel it needed to be. It didn't really add anything, but I was just absolutely captivated by the whole thing. And I think the Toy Story trilogy could probably be considered to be the greatest trilogy of all time now. I mean, that said, I haven't seen all the trilogies. I haven't actually seen any of the Godfather films. Don't get me. I'm getting onto it. But the thing with Godfather films is everyone says that the third Godfather film was rubbish, whereas the first two were excellent. I can only comment on the trilogies I've seen, like the original Star Wars trilogy, the new rubbish prequel trilogy of Star Wars, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, things like that. And I think Toy Story's trilogy is just really, really well worked. I think the reason it worked, the third film wasn't a flop, is because they waited so long between doing number 2 and number 3. You had basically like a 10-year gap between the two of them, and it was a nostalgia trip, obviously, because when I saw the first two, I was, about 10 years old type thing. So, yes, I thought, and as a standalone film itself, it was really well constructed. I absolutely enjoyed it, and the opening 5 minutes was probably the best opening 5 minutes of the film this year, and I will give it 9 out of 10. It was absolutely brilliant. Inception, that's probably the one that a lot of people will remember 2010 for. Christopher Nolan, good director, very good film, I thought. Really good film. It was a concept, it was a very high concept film, a bit like his earlier film Memento in that respect, where you had to, keep thinking. I went with a couple of friends who are more action film type people than logic films, and they did find it a little tricky to follow the levels that the film was operating on. But I personally felt it was actually quite followable, as long as you're engaging with it. It's a film you can't just watch, lazily on a night in after you've had a few beers and a lot of pizza, because you would get lost and confused. But going in there, fresh mind, ready, aware that it's going to be somewhat tricky to follow, it was very enjoyable. And, I walked out there going, oh my god, it's amazing, I can't believe it, this is incredible, Leonardo DiCaprio can act. Things like that. But, it was a good film, well cast, nice to see Michael Caine in there, he's always quite good. And I'd give it 8 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. 2 more to go. Resident Evil Afterlife. Now, I saw the first 10 minutes of this at a friend's house, and I left, because it was awful. I'm a fan of the Resident Evil games. I do enjoy playing them, but as a film, just not worth it. Resident Evil Afterlife, watched the opening 10 minutes, it was just awful. The only redeeming feature of it, I would say, is that the man who was playing Albert Wesker, the villain, looked a lot like Albert Wesker and did act a fair bit like him in the little bit that I saw him in. I thought they got that bang on. The rest of it, couldn't care less. I know I've only seen 10 minutes, but I can quite frankly happily reward this 1 out of 10. And, lucky to get that. And the final film that I've seen most recently this year was the first Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I've seen all the previous Harry Potter films. I'm a fan of the books. However, I was not sure what to think of the Deathly Hallows because when I saw the Half-Blood Prince, when that came out a few years ago, the sixth one, it was rubbish. Well, it wasn't rubbish, but I felt, because the Half-Blood Prince was my favourite of the books, I had quite high expectations, perhaps too high, and I think I personally felt very let down by it. It wasn't rubbish, it was just average, and I felt it's because they focused on the wrong aspects of the book with number 6. I think what they've done with Deathly Hallows, splitting it into 2 films, is a good idea. There's a lot in Deathly Hallows to, get through, so that made sense to split it up like that. I think the details they've included in part 1 were excellent, and I hope they continue in a similar vein with part 2, and I honestly can't wait to see it. Really good film, and I'd give it 9 out of 10. And it was also the first film I've been to a midnight premiere of, so that was good. That was good fun as well, going with all the Potter nerds all dressed up and things like that. I was wearing a top hat. It was good fun. Yes, but that was the films I've seen in the cinema in 2010. As you can tell, I don't go frequently. I go probably once every 2 months. I'm probably due to go again in a few weeks. Don't know what I'll see. Probably just whatever's on that I fancy. Film of the year for 2010. It's between Toy Story 3 and Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 1. I'd definitely say Inception was probably the third best in them. I really did quite like Inception. Second and third, probably going to have to go with... It's tricky, I haven't actually really thought about this. I may change my mind after I've stopped this, but I'm going to say that the film I enjoyed the most was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. That just pips Toy Story 3 into the reckoning. Right, but that's it for movie reviews of 2010. Hopefully 2011 will, improve on this year. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Tomorrow's Daily Splat, I'm not sure what I'll do. I'll probably review something else from the year. We'll have to wait and see. Or maybe I'll just talk about weasels. Who knows? Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Bye!